Well, it's exactly a day after the Supreme Court affirmed the election of President Bola Tinubu, and more congratulatory messages are pouring in as dignitaries continue to visit the villa. The latest visit is from Nigeria's former president, Goodluck Jonathan, who is now calling on all aggrieved and opposition political parties to move on from the just concluded 25th of February general election and join hands in building the nation. Mr. Jonathan spoke with State House correspondents after a closed-door meeting with President Tinubu at the presidential villa in Abuja.
Also to congratulate Mr. President, and we talked a lot about the country. I will continue to have a conversation with Mr. President, including briefing him on all my foreign programs, because they are not personal issues. As traditionally, former presidents will go outside the country for this continental, regional program, even some international. They come home and they tell their president. So that's the tradition. So most of the time when you see me here, because of this thing that we must do, and to move Nigeria forward, to move ECOWAS forward, to move the African continent forward.
TVC News State House correspondent Femi Akonde joins us live from Abuja for more on the outpouring of goodwill messages on President Tinubu's victory at the Supreme Court. Femi, what more can you tell us about the visit of former President Jonathan to the villa?
Well, Abosede, beyond congratulating President Bola Tinubu and indeed the APC on their victory at the Supreme Court yesterday, President Goodluck Jonathan also sent a message to Nigerians and indeed those contenders or contestants that took President Bola Tinubu and his party to court. He asked them, he asked them to move on. And, you know, coming from President Goodluck Jonathan, who himself lost an election in 2015 and, of course, chose to move on and join hands with President Muhammadu Buhari's administration to move the country forward. He's now asking all of these politicians that now that the matter has been settled by the court with the highest jurisdiction, that is the Supreme Court of Nigeria, that it's time to let the matter go. It's also time to talk to their supporters to sheath their swords and join hands to build Nigeria, because for now we have not seen that coming from all of these politicians who in one breath have said that, well, they will take the matter to the Supreme Court and whatever decision or whatever is the decision of the Supreme Court, they will abide by it. And in another breath, after the Supreme Court has given its verdict, they are now still questioning the verdict of the Supreme Court and not agreeing with what the apex court, which is the highest court, has the judgment that has been handed down by the apex court. And the message from President Goodluck Jonathan, he's not just the first. We are hearing this from a lot of people, state governors, even people from the People's Democratic Party and people from the opposition camp, calling on their candidates, well, to move on and join hands for national growth and development. And President Goodluck Jonathan, again, has been quite engaged on the continent. You know, he's a special envoy of Nigeria to Mali, ECOWAS special envoy to Mali, and he has come to visit President Bola Tinubu as the chairman of ECOWAS to also brief him on his activities on the continent, especially in West Africa, in dealing with the issues in ECOWAS. He was also in Liberia, and he said he'll be visiting Kenya and other African countries. And it's just normal for him to visit President Tinubu as chairman of ECOWAS to brief him on all of this. Abosede.
And Femi, it's 24 hours after the judgment. What are the other highlights from the villa today?
Well, it's still a revolving door for visitors coming to congratulate President Bola Tinubu on this recent, just yesterday's judgment of the Supreme Court. But you know, President Bola Tinubu too, from his message, has said that, well, he's going to be magnanimous in victory and has called on everyone to just support his government, support his administration, the renewed hope agenda, the plan he has for the economy, security, education, and all other critical sectors that will directly impact the lives of Nigerians. He also acknowledged that, well, he's aware that there is hardship at the moment caused by the removal of fuel subsidy, which is a tough decision that he had to take in the interest of the country, but also went further to assure that in the long run, this will be to the benefit of Nigerians, and that, well, in the short term, all interventions in forms of palliatives and all others will be expedited to ensure that it gets to the poorest of the poor. We know that in the coming days, they are already finalizing plans to begin the payment of the conditional cash transfer. That is the renewed hope conditional cash transfer of 25,000 naira each to 15 million households. That will run for the next 3 months. That means each household within a period of 3 months will get 75,000 naira each. They believe that this would have a positive ripple effect on the economy, that's the local economy, especially as it affects the poor and vulnerable. Abosede.
And Femi, right after that judgment, Mr. President resumed quite early, to work this morning. What exactly would you say this judgment means to him?
Well, it's definitely a huge relief. He also knows that it's time for him to focus on achieving that renewed hope agenda. The distractions are over, because before now the government have always had to maybe respond to some information and certain disinformation. They have tried to clarify so many issues. We know what happened even with the whole Chicago State University issue. So many issues were brought to the fore, and all of these, the presidency and some of the presidents and spokesmen have come at one time or the other to set the record straight about it. But now all of that has been put behind them, and everyone expects that it's time to focus on governance. And Nigerians are also watching and would begin to hold the president, the government and his administration to the awards and accountable as they begin to work to fulfill all of those promises. Abosede.
And I'm wondering if we're expecting any more appointments, soon.
Well, the latest appointment that has just been announced is that of the Civil Service Commission. We have seen different appointments in the past, just even yesterday. And the latest one that was just announced by the Special Advisor to President Bola Tinubu on Media and Publicity, Ajurin Gilali, is that of the Civil Service Commission. And a lot of these appointments will also await the confirmation of the Senate. And all of this is an exercise of our President Bola Tinubu's powers conferred on him by the Constitution in Section 54 of the 1999 Constitution, that gives him power to appoint people in positions of chairman and members of board in some of the government parastatals and agency. And he's already exercising all of those powers. And we expect to see a lot more appointments in the coming days, Abosede.
Absolutely, Femi. TVC News State House correspondent Femi Akonde for us in Abuja. Thanks a lot, Femi.